Ron Harris here from MuscularDevelopment.com, wrapping up our coverage of the 2017 Mr. Olympia weekend, brought to you by High-Tech Pharmaceuticals. It's Saturday night in Las Vegas, and wow, some stuff went down tonight. So we started things off with bikini finals. No real surprise there. Angelica Tejera won. Beautiful woman. 212 was where we saw little bits of shakeups happening. First of all, let's talk about a couple of guys that did not make the top 5. Who were the standouts in your mind as far as people to look out for, people that might have done better?
Milan Sadek, he's 20. Well, we spoke about him in the wrap-up last night. He's like 27, 28, beautiful lines. He said this is his last year as a 212. He wants to move up to the Open, but I think he should stay. I think I would imagine he would have been solid 7th. I don't see him being any lower than that because they were calling him. He was in the first call out at the judging. So yeah, there's someone I would like to stay as a 212. I think he's crazy to go into the Open right now. I think you should stay 212.
Someone you know from the UK. Could have done a little better this time. Probably will do a lot better next time if he switches things up. Ricardo Correa.
Ricardo, yeah. I mean, Ricardo looked stomach. I think he overrated. My theory is he was burning up nervous energy. He was so excited to be here, and I think he just, because I saw him some pictures and a few days before, and he looked kind of small, and I thought maybe he's going to eat up. I think he overate. I mean, since it's the first time I've ever seen him with really shredded glutes. His condition was crazy. His shape was beautiful. He would have been top 5. He would have been top 5. I would have probably seen him around with Sean Clarida. So you're talking maybe 7th, 8th. He said to me, I was messaging him last night, and he says, it's done. Top 6, it's done. I'm happy. I made top 10. He said that was my goal, so I'm happy. He's moving to America in November. What a great future. 2 pro wins. I'm so pleased for him. Amazing.
So 5th place to me was the most exciting placing of the 212 this year at the Olympia, because I was here in Las Vegas not even 2 months ago when 24-year-old kid named Derek Lunsford won the USA. We saw it in Tampa 1 week later, jumped into a pro show, won that as a 212. Here he is at the Olympia, the Mr. Olympia, 5th place his first time out. Incredible. So he's a diamond in the rough. You know, what do you see him needing to improve on in the next couple of years before he can really take his place where he belongs?
I think 2 years and he's going to be giving Flex hassle. I think he's the next 212 Mr. Olympia after Flex. I really think he's that good. Like I said, I saw the pictures that you put on Facebook from the USA. And the first thing I thought was that front double bicep from the USA. I was like, I want to see that next to Flex Lewis. I did not imagine that I would see it this year. Like a few months later, you know, obviously we saw him in Tampa. Sensational. I just think that kid, I mean, I've never seen shoulder width. He's as wide as Ashkenani, but he's got a beautiful shape. He's got aesthetics. I mean, 24 years old, you say? 24. I mean, I honestly think he will be 212 Mr. Olympia.
Yeah, I agree. Structure, everything's there. All he needs, muscle maturity. He's barely been bodybuilding for 4 years. Give this kid a couple years and wow. So 4th place, perennial top 5 guy, David Henry, who's been the champion before. He looked better at the Arnold. I'm very sure of that. Still looked very good. 3rd place, we're moving on to Jose Raymond. Kind of a controversial call. Could have gone either way. 3rd or 2nd between him and runner-up Ahmad Ashkenani. Did you see Jose in 3rd, or did you have him in 2nd?
I had him 2nd.
Yeah. Based on,
well, I try not to judge on previous years, but I mean, he was close to Flex. I mean, Jose's radial bicep is his weakest pose, and Flex's radial bicep is his strongest pose. So that's the only pose where, you know, Flex absolutely destroyed him. But I just think it's the best he's been for years. And I just had him ahead of Ashkenani. I just preferred Jose's shape. I think he just had more of an X factor for me.
Yeah. And Ashkenani, you know, not take anything away from the guy. The guy looked really good. I just don't see him upsetting Flex until Flex is all done. And by that point, someone like Lunsford, and particularly Lunsford, might be past him, so who knows. So Flex Lewis wins 6 in a row, dedicated his win to his good friend Dallas McCarver, which was, you know, very nice of him, very appropriate, because we all know what happened there, and it was a very cool thing of Flex. So let's move on to the Mr. Olympia, the main event that we're all here anxiously waiting to see. So we had some guys outside of the top 10 that we really thought should have been in the top 10 if they had nailed it. One of them, Lionel Bayeki, who we didn't see much of this weekend. From the back, he was very soft, but that's somebody that could easily be in the top 5 if he really nailed it, or higher. Anybody else outside that top 10 that you would want to make note of?
I was quite impressed with Michael Lockett. Yeah, I know he's got a bit of an unusual shape, but yeah, he kind of stuck in my mind. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the top 10. Top 10 was rounded out in 10th place by Cedric McMillan. Cedric, even though he wasn't 100% back at the Arnold, he was much leaner at the Arnold. It's definitely not his best look. Softer look here today. Still always good to see Cedric. It's an amazing physique. 9th place, Josh Lenardowitz, who I thought looked phenomenal. Better than he did when he won in Tampa. Do you think 9th was about right for him in this lineup?
Yeah, I was reading on the play-by-play. They were saying they reckon he was worse than yesterday. He wasn't. For me, I thought he was better than yesterday. Yeah. He was fuller. He seemed like everything was pushing against the skin more. He looked great. I mean, I thought fantastic. I mean, I had him around 8th to 10th. That was no surprise there. But yeah, agree with that.
Moving on, 8th place was Brandon Curry. We knew he was going to do better in the Olympia this year than he has in the past when he's done this contest, based on the improvements that he made that we saw earlier in the year when he won in New Zealand and then the Arnold Australia the next week. What were you looking at when you saw Curry? Did you see him improved over the spring, and did you think 8th place was right for him today?
I was shocked he got 8th because he was in the first call out, and the judges were moving him around a lot with Dexter and Bonac, and he just I thought, oh, they really want to look at him. They really want to see what improvements he's made. And 8th place was probably the only placing that I was quite surprised by, because I just thought he was a shoo-in for top 6. I really did. And he looked sensational. The back, shoulders, everything. He's got it all. He was in great condition, nice, tight, flat, waistline, which has been a bit of an issue in this show for some of the other, top athletes. So yeah, I mean, it was his. I would say it's his best ever appearance. So yeah, he looked great.
Probably the most improved in the Mr. Olympia contest this year was someone you know very well from the UK. You've known him since he was an amateur, Nathan Dasha, who moved up from 12th place last year to 7th place this year. I believe he said in our interview he was something like 15 pounds heavier. Condition was as good as last year, if not better. Are you very impressed by Nathan this year?
For me, he was a shock of the show in a good way. I mean, I love his aesthetics. I love his size. He's brought his legs up. He's becoming a bigger, better version of himself all the time. And I mean, yeah, I was really happy for him to get 7th. I mean, he was 12th last year. We had him like 8th to 10th last year. Yeah. So really, he's knocking on the top 6 already. In 2 years in. So Nathan, Nathan's done fantastic. So pleased for him.
Okay. 6th place, Rolly Winkler, massive, bigger than ever. Kept his waistline under control. It wasn't distended like we've seen it in the past. I thought he could have done a little better, but 6th place in this lineup, a tough show. I was pretty happy with that, or I think he should be happy with that. Did you have him right around there?
Yeah, I had a feeling they were going to put, because I knew they were from the call-outs they were going to put like Dexter 4th, and then I was thinking maybe 5th, 6th. Yeah, 5th, 6th was fair, but for me he was the freak of the show.
Sean Roden dropped down from 2nd place last year to 5th. He actually was a lot worse last night. He definitely tightened up. He's showing some abdominal distension last night. His gut was popping out a little bit. Somehow he reined that in for tonight, sharpened up a little bit, but it wasn't enough to get him any higher than 5th. What did you think of Roden this year versus past outings?
Well, I mean, let's compare him to yesterday. Yesterday, it was a disaster. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm a big Roden fan, and it was just so upsetting to see him like that, and I just didn't recognize the guy. But today, 100% improved. I was actually really pleased that he came in so much better tonight. The stomach was flatter. He just seemed to be more like the old Sean Roden, that we saw last year, the top three competitor. Yeah, but I think he needs to address things for next year, because he's just going to keep slipping down and down. In fact, I didn't have him in the top 6. Yeah.
So the top 4 was fairly predictable based on what we saw in the judging. Dexter Jackson, the Blade, very consistent, sharp condition. 4th place was right for him, and the guy's turning 48 years old in a few weeks, so he's been at the show for a million years. I don't think anybody can complain about that. Another guy that everyone was talking about was William Bonac, probably the best condition, best total package of density, thickness, shape, and so forth. Did you have him any higher than third place, or you think that was well deserved?
Well, I knew it was the Ramy and Phil show. I think I'm actually happy with third. I mean, I don't think anyone would have complained if he'd have been second or even first. I don't think there would have been any boos. Yeah. But Bonac is just, he's one of those guys that every year will just keep improving. I mean, he's gone 15th, 8th, 5th, 3rd. I mean, how can anyone, William fans, not be happy with that?
Right. So, as you said, it was the Ramy and Phil show. I mean, it was very clear from the call-outs and the comparisons. It was going to come down to these two guys. There was a lot of talk on the boards and all over social media this past 24 hours that maybe Ramy was going to pull it off. A lot of people thought he deserved to pull it off. I never really saw it going that way, just because Phil has a lot of things that Ramy doesn't. And, Ramy, if he brought the Ramy that we've been waiting to see, maybe it would have happened. But I didn't see that Ramy. What do you think?
Ramy, I'm really warming to Ramy. I mean, I've been quite heavily critical of him, actually, well, since he came into the pros 2013. But he's winning me over, big time winning me over. The more I look at his physique, the more I like it. I'm starting to warm to him. Yeah, big time.
So, of course, Phil Heath wins 7th Olympia in a row, ties Arnold Schwarzenegger's record. An impressive accomplishment. Next year, he could tie the all-time record held jointly by Ronnie Coleman and Lee Haney, and then who knows, after that he could go for 9, maybe even 10. It's all going to remain to be seen. Not the best Phil we've ever seen, but in my mind, when you set a certain standard and you look a certain way, as Phil did in his first win, 2011, that was a one-time, lifetime peak that I don't think we're ever going to see again. Do you think it's fair that we compare him to that? Because he still was good enough to win the show against every other of the top bodybuilders in the world.
It's not that Phil was off, it's just that he's coming in too big, and it's causing the distension. I mean, the distension I thought was horrific yesterday. And I thought, well, I still think they're going to give it to him, which is a sign of how good he is, yes. But, with Phil, he cannot come in like that next year and then win again, because it'll just destroy the open class. It really will. And with these things, the classic class coming through, I think the fans are just going to divert away to these kinds of classes now, because it's just going to get boring. And I think he needs to come in seriously lighter next year, maybe 5-6 pounds, because it's not that he's soft, but it's like the muscles. It's just like it's too inflated. Do you know what I mean? It's like he has almost like a deformed look. It's like because Phil actually has a really nice shape. I remember 2010 when I was here when he came second to Jay Cutler, and I had him winning it. Yeah. And everything just looked in control, and everything was popping, and it was a pleasing look. And now it's kind of a bit distorted. But big congratulations to him, 7 wins.
Absolutely.
I personally, some part of me would have wanted to see Ramy to win, just to see maybe with the reaction, and maybe have him come back next year, and then maybe, I don't know, see maybe some new guys moving up. I think it would have added a bit of excitement. We'll see him next year. And
I think it should be said that it's been the case with many guys who win multiple Mr. Olympia titles. The fans just want to see somebody new. It's nothing against the champion. It's just the nature of how the sport has always been. When somebody wins year after year after year, it's just not as exciting. And you want to see things shaken up. You want to see somebody new in that Olympia throne. And that's all it is. Phil definitely deserved the win. He was the best man on the stage this weekend. And, all props, all respect to Phil Heath. 7 Olympia titles. That's an incredible accomplishment. And if he goes and gets 9 wins, 10 wins eventually, we're going to have to say this is the winningest Mr. Olympia of all time. If you want to say the best Mr. Olympia of all time, it's all opinion anyway, so that's going to be up for debate till the end of time. Any closing thoughts, Giles, before we wrap this up?
Not really, but next year I want to see some more shuffling. I want to see more guys moving up. I want to see. This Olympia kind of has delivered. I wanted to see Nathan moving up. I wanted to see Josh moving up. And that's happened. I wanted to see William, moving up, because 5th last year. He was second. I had him second last year. So really, people were saying, oh, it's too predictable. But at the end of the day, there was quite a mix-up this year. And you got the veterans like Dexter still looking absolutely incredible. It's been a good Olympia, a very exciting Olympia.
Yeah. Which it pretty much always is. This is our Super Bowl, people. If this show's not exciting, what's going to be, right? So that is going to wrap it up for MuscularDevelopment.com's coverage of the 2017 Mr. Olympia weekend, brought to you by High-Tech Pharmaceuticals. Big thanks to High-Tech for making this possible, and we'll see you at the next one.